Well, hello everybody. I wanted to pop on in here and just give you a little intro. So, we are doing a promotion this month on my course Relationship Rescue, a toolkit for healthy communication in unstable relationships. And basically, this course consists of 7 dates to help you find, revitalize, or rediscover a passionate partnership, and ideally using your knowledge of attachment styles as a way to foster a deeper sense of connection with you and your partner. And I offer this in response to a lot of the questions I've been getting, particularly around how do I navigate intimate relationships when in quarantine. So let's see if I can minimize myself here. And I just want to walk you through, just give you a little taste. I figure rather than, I'll probably do a separate live stream explaining this, but I want to just show you, like, give you a sneak peek inside the course itself. So when you log in, actually, this is kind of fun and exciting because this is the first course that we are vending through our new website. So for those of you that have purchased my 101 courses already, we are going to be migrating to a new membership site. So this is the new membership site, and you'll see the structure of the content's a little bit different, but very similar. So when you sign up for Relationship Rescue, this is our introductory page. You will see there are some frequently asked questions here. So this is all a little introduction, frequently asked questions. This is the link to download your workbook, which is over 100 pages. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. And then we have conversation starters. So for some folks, diving right into the nonverbal, arts-based experiential activities might seem a little bit scary. So what I've done is, this is my friend Davide Ferrari. Isn't he gorgeous, ladies? So he agreed to do this whole course with me. And so I would actually also encourage you, if you're single, or you're just getting over a breakup, or maybe you're just starting to date someone, but you're not so comfortable inviting them into this kind of play space with you. I recommend getting a friend who's willing to do this platonically, because you will be amazed at how well practicing being intimate with someone who's not a romantic partner can help you be more emotionally honest, right? And now you've got the skills to move into the romantic space. Anyway, so basically what I've got here, these are some significant questions. Like, we've been talking about compatibility. So these are questions that I think you really want to, these are conversations you want to be having with someone. Like, what do you get out of a relationship? What do you think the benefits of relationship might be? What do you contribute to a relationship? How do you prioritize it? What are your goals, right? And how much satisfaction do you experience around that? So these are questions that that we explore, and we do talk about how to guide those conversations. In your workbook, there are also prompts and like phrases to use if you're afraid to dive into any of these question prompts, like ways to articulate yourself so that that conversation goes a little more smoothly. So anyway, this opening lesson is just about basic conversation starters, and we kind of model for you how to have an emotionally honest conversation without, fearing reprisal or something like that. Then the first date, this is a little overview. That screenshot's not the best. And talking about dating while partnered, talk about dating while single, because I think it's really important that you date, whether you're partnered or single. And this course is made up of 7 dates. And I also define what is a date, right? What is a date? And we define that, and we talk about what that means. Now, if you have not taken my Attachment 101 courses, this is just a little basics overview so that you can know what it is. You have like a basic introduction to that. We do go more deeply into attachment styles in this course as it pertains to the relational space. But if you want to dive deep into your attachment style or a partner's attachment style specifically, that's where you want to hook up with my 101 attachment style 101 courses. Okay. This course takes that information to the next level and brings it into the relational space. So this is an overview for you. So even if you haven't taken the 101 courses, you can take this course and get a tremendous amount out of it. But if you have already taken my 101 courses, this will feel like a natural extension of that. And we also talk about focus wheels. So in the Attachment 101 courses, we use a 7-step focus wheel to help you identify your desire as it pertains to your struggles, specifically with your attachment style. Now, this is a 5-step focus wheel that's going to help you expand into a relational space, have a positive attitude about you and your partner, or you and your future partner, okay? So, and I give you more specific examples with that goal in mind for this focus wheel exercise. So now we talk about decoding your conflict blueprints. And so this is a more intensive lesson. So I explained to you what I define as ascended partnership, okay? So ascended partnership being like partners who come together that have a sense of felt security with one another, and they're also contributing to the growth of the relationship because it contributes to something that's larger than themselves, yet it doesn't require an abandonment of self. Okay. And obviously I talk a lot more about that in here. Talk about 5 steps to cultivate a loving relationship and get your partner to care about your needs. We talk about creating that safe container. I'm going to have to change these little screenshots here. The thumbnails are pretty crazy. So we go through each one of those. So these are the lessons, the 5 steps here. And then how we practice deep structure versus surface structure communications. So what is the emotional connection you're trying to establish versus the content of the conversation that you're having? Now, the big highlight for this date is that we have Kyle Benson joining us as a guest presenter. Now, Kyle Benson is super cool dude who works at the Gottman Institute. He's a love and intimacy coach in his own right, has been published in a variety of well-known outlets. But he also is a conversation coder at the Gottman Institute at the Love Lab. And if you don't know, John Gottman's written multiple best-selling books, including 7 Principles That Make Marriage Work. He's researched thousands of couples on what works and what doesn't work. And so Kyle was gracious enough to join us to give us this bonus lesson on decoding our conflict blueprints. Okay. And then I also give you an experiential activity, which I demonstrate with Davide on how do we connect? Okay. What is our blueprint? Okay. Now, in the third date, we talk more about practicing those deep structure communications. I tell you a little bit more about the downward spiral. So this is like a common conversation or different variants of this conversation I see happening, particularly between certain types of attachment styles, and how you can kind of put the kibosh on that before it gets too far. We also talk a little bit more about bridging the emotional gap. So this is actually an activity extension where we get more embodied by using a different material. This is clay that we're going to be playing with there. You'll see what I mean. And so we're extending the things we're learning. We're building from one lesson to the next. Okay. And then we're going to be talking about practicing emotional honesty. Okay. And again, this is going to involve an experiential activity and some lecture-based content. Also digging into what makes you feel vulnerable, how you feel safe. You got a taste of that. I did a promotional video series on our Facebook feed, and I talked a little bit about how to know when it's safe to be vulnerable, okay, and the differences between emotional crowding or leakage and emotional isolation. And then on date 5, we're going to talk about how we inspire your partner to care about your needs. We create these love maps together, and there's a lot more lecture and discussion around that. And then we're going to talk about essential boundaries in partnership. So for those of you that have taken my 101 courses, we do reference those 4 archetypes for emotional boundaries and communication, but then we take it a next step further. Okay. And we delve into more specifically like your body boundaries, your behavioral boundaries, your values and beliefs. Okay. How all of that has to mesh with and jive with your partner in order to come to a place of connection, right? Emotional connection. And you see, I have got my drum there. So I'm going to be, there's also guided visualization in this particular activity. And then we also have, it looks like I have another experiential. There we go. Then we also do another experiential. This one is super fun where, let me see if I can show you a little preview here. If I can just skip ahead maybe. Or that's just us talking about it. But we do have a little demo here. There it is, where we show you how to work in the space together. Like, how do you inhabit space together? And we use the metaphor as a way to play with that. And the advantage of using, activities like this is that you're not sitting in a room staring at each other, talking about your problem, adding more and more and more momentum. You can certainly stimulate the feelings that are aroused. I don't want you to be afraid of uncomfortable or conflictual feelings, but this creates, like, I guess you could say, a buffer, or it's called a transitional object or space, but it creates a play space where you can start to explore the way you navigate these things in ways that are not so threatening, that are fun, that can be creative. And that's what we're trying to demonstrate for you here. And on day 7, obviously this is an overview and review. I also give you an introduction to the 5 erotic blueprints. So this is our second expert bonus guest presenter. This is Sasha Fassa, who's amazing. And she is a tantric instructor with over 20 years experience, a gazillion certifications in energy work, and also working with sexual wellness. So she's also a certified erotic blueprints coach. If you're not familiar, the erotic blueprints are Jaya's brainchild. And so it's basically the idea that most people will have sexual desires and patterns of arousal that pertain to one of 5 different types. And those are the 5 erotic blueprints. So Sasha came to give us an experiential tutorial on the 5 erotic blueprints and to teach us a little bit how we might, spice things up and keep the passion alive in our partnerships. And this is such a useful presentation, whether you are partnered or in a relationship. I learned so much about myself just by, speaking with Sasha and also following her links to continuing education around that. So, so that's just a peek inside the dashboard and the lessons and some of the content that you engage with. Now, I told you I was going to show you the workbook. Let me see if I can show you the workbook here. I got to go back to the intro. Okay. So when I say, so there's a lot, some people are more, linguistic learners, or they like to read as they go, or they don't have the time to listen to something or watch something. So this is everything in a workbook for you. So all of this is over 100 pages. And I walk you through each step of the way. There's actually more information in the workbook as well. So I highly recommend that if you do decide to purchase the course, that you download the workbook and that you follow along, because there's so much information here. And also, this is a couples contract. I don't think I mentioned that before. Like, before starting, if you are doing this with a partner, I recommend creating a couples contract, which means that you both agree that even though uncomfortable feelings come up, you're going to stick it out for the course of the 7 dates, right? And these are just, so we talk about activating strategies and deactivating strategies in partnership. We talk a little bit more about, so this is where we dive much more deeply into like examples of phrases and words that trigger people because they are part of what John Gottman calls the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So Kyle Benson gives us a more in-depth discussion around these things, but in your workbook, you'll find a lot of it just spelled out for you. And I tell you a lot more about deep structure, surface structure communications. Here are examples, ways that you can reframe things, how to have those conversations, more triggering statements. In some cases, I give you like case examples of partners that have shared their stories with me and how we kind of break down their communication and why it may or may not have worked, and what might have been useful instead. So I'm not going to belabor this, but I just wanted to show you how meaty and rich this is. This course is like my baby. So I wanted to just share that with you and show you how much you're getting for your money. And obviously there are templates and worksheets and things. This is inspired. Your love map, your relationship love map is inspired by Bagua, which is a feng shui principle of how you organize your energy and space, right? These are prompts around extending the conversation around the boundaries, and talking about the erotic blueprints and so forth. So I wanted to just share all of that with you, and give you a little sneak peek behind the scenes. Again, this is available until the end of the month, so you want to make sure that you check it out. And I'll probably pop in later with a live stream FAQ. So stay tuned, and hopefully I will see you inside.